this course, 521, ends on Friday. Everything is due Friday by midnight. Please submit everything by Friday. Friday by midnight. Before midnight, by 11:59. Isn't that dramatic? 12 o'clock, it is Saturday. Make sure it's submitted Friday night, please, because there's a lot of grading for me to do, and my grades are due Sunday night. And so turning it in does not work when the course is over. So please turn it in on time. Strongly recommend you submitting a PDF and a Word doc. The PDF tends to preserve formatting better, and whenever it's accepted, suggest you do that. So, the ePortfolio should not come as a surprise if you are one that is watching videos, and you're watching this one, so you're someone that watches videos. That's what my almost second grader does. I don't know that I've done that before in a video. There you have it. Maybe that'll be a really awkward thumbnail that I'll use. We'll see what YouTube picks. If you find yourself either second guessing or kind of stuck on a section, my recommendation for you is looking at what week it's connected to, and then going back to that week and looking at those resources. The ePortfolio kind of directions and topics are strongly tied with those weeks. So if you're like, what's the thing that it's asking for in week 5? Look at week 5, look at the readings, look at the topics, and like, oh, it's around the SAMR model. Okay, yeah, the SAMR model is actually an answer to the thing I was kind of stuck on. And so each topic for your ePortfolio, each section connects with a week, and that week should be pretty clear because you just spent 7 weeks going through 7 topics. I mean, more than 7 topics, but you know what I mean. The other big thing, and I know this is week 8, is that the annual ISTE conference begins Sunday. Depending on when you watch this, began on Sunday, is about to begin, whatever. It's Sunday through Wednesday. Again, depending on when you watch this, I presented Sunday morning. It was awesome. It went so well. Of all things, like, look at me, like, being your instructor in 521, and my session is around accessibility. I'm really excited about it. What is the title of it? How might we make classrooms, schools, and conferences more accessible for all? It's the title. It's a big one. And we go through just like really basic stuff. I'll drop a link in my weekly announcement to the slide deck. But in 1 hour, actually in 50 minutes, like, you got to go pretty quickly through stuff. We talk about audio accessibility, visual accessibility, and then specifically iOS, iPadOS accessibility. And so, like, basics, I'll give you like my greatest tips for all of them. For audio, use a microphone. If there's more than 10 of you around the same table, use a microphone. If I would encourage you to become an interrupter and really advocate for those that need it. If there is a microphone and someone is not using it, please hand it to them. And if you're not able to that, please ask them to use it. Because someone saying, I'm good, I'm not going to use a microphone, is not okay. Someone saying, I don't like the sound of my voice, makes it about them. That's called centering. That's super not okay. Particularly with hearing differences, they're almost always invisible. And so whenever there's a microphone, use a microphone. Another thing we talk about briefly as a tangent, but I think is actually really useful for this group to hear, is I got some great feedback. I've presented on this a handful of times around using a teacher voice. Have you heard this? I'll just use my teacher voice, which for most of us is shouting. So if you have a student that is in an abusive home where there is shouting and arguing, guess what happens when a teacher shouts? Yeah, right? That becomes a trigger. Are you just like rewinding all your career as a teacher going, oh wow, like my teacher voice triggers like an abuse reaction for some of my kids. So whenever possible, don't shout, don't use a teacher voice, use a microphone. If there's not one around, do all you can to advocate for there being a microphone. I actually gave this presentation at SpringQ last March, and someone sitting front row center actually raised his hand. He was like, "Yeah, like if someone doesn't use a microphone, I hear nothing in the room." I have some great new hearing aids. They're connected with his iPhone. Um, iPhone has amazing accessibility features for visual, for hearing, for motor control. Like, for all learners. So important. Um, so that was the hearing one. The visual one, use closed captioning whenever you can, even in Google Slides, even if you're in person with your class. In the bottom left corner, is this mirrored? This is my bottom left. Bottom left corner, there's 3 dots. I usually call them the snowman. If you click on that, you can go to captioning and turn on closed captioning, and it moves your slides down a tiny bit and captions it. It's amazing. There's additional features there. Really powerful stuff. Even built into Chrome. Anytime a video plays, you can turn on an advanced feature to add captioning to all of your like web browsing. Anytime there's a video, it will pop up like a lower third and give you captioning. It's auto caption, so it's far from perfect, but it's a big deal. And then, oh my goodness, if I had to pick one tip, maybe I'll give you 2 for iOS, iPadOS. The favorite thing I use as someone who has good motor control is actually to go into the motor settings. And there's a setting where if you swipe with 2 fingers from the top to the bottom, it'll speak what's on the screen for you. Super useful. You can increase contrast, add buttons, prevent motion. You can, if you have any sort of color blindness, or students do, being aware of that, you can actually add filters to the screen, which do not work when you're airplaying because it's specific to the device, but you can set up filters so you can have like always kind of a yellow filter. One of my students once needed stuff on green paper, and so you can actually have a green filter over your whole screen, and that's built in to iPadOS and iOS. So powerful. And then another great one, you can actually tap the back of your phone. Like literally you tap it 3 times and it opens a thing. So for me, 2 taps opens up the camera. There it is. There's my camera. 2 taps. And then 3 taps, I believe, is the control center. So instead of having to go from the top right corner, I can just triple tap the back of my phone and it works. And if you have any sort of physical difference with your body, with how you see, how you hear, how you're able to touch with fine motor control, there's so many features for you, for your students, for your colleagues. It's amazing. So that's what that session is about. That Sunday, if you're going to ISTE Live, either in New Orleans or attending virtually, I'll be presenting and attending virtually. Yeah, check it out. If nothing else, hop on that hashtag ISTE Live, ISTELIVE, one word, ISTE Live, and most presenters, at least most presenters you would likely see, most of them are going to share their resources on Twitter. So check that out. If nothing else, just spend a tiny bit of time on Twitter, hashtag ISTE Live. You'll get all kinds of great resources. So I know the timing of that kind of stinks with week 8 wrapping up, but it'll be worth your time if you're also trying to still kind of figure out, as my mom calls it, the Twitters. Perhaps, from 501, you're like, I had to create an account and I don't quite know. I don't know, I kind of forgot about it, but I want to get back into it and become a more connected educator. This week is a really good week to do that because the Twitter sphere? Educators on Twitter will be prolific this week on the ISTE Live hashtag. Those presenting will be excited if you reply to them and say these are great resources. Thank you. If you retweet their resources, then you're sharing it for people to follow you. They will feel great about it. You quote tweet it and be like, these are great resources. It connects to a lot of the learning I'm doing around accessibility. Like, fantastic. Um, yeah, it's worth checking out this week. Last thing for you regarding our course together. Week 8, your discussion board is not due Sunday. Your replies are actually due Friday. So instead of Thursday, Sunday, it's now Wednesday, Friday. So get that initial post up by Wednesday, 2 replies Friday by midnight. Yeah, and it's a really simple one. It's like your exit ticket for the course. What did you learn and what are you going to do about it is basically what that is. If you ever have questions in life and education around technology or whatever, you know how to find me. I'm Bill Selleck on all the things. Reach out to me, say hello. If we're at a conference either remotely at the same time or together at the same time, it'd be great to hang out. Also, if you're ever looking to present and need some feedback or maybe need a co-presenter, let me know. I've co-presented with some of my Concordia students before. Like, it's my first presentation, I don't know what to do, and they pretty consistently knock it out of the park. Yeah, let me know. Happy to look over any reviews if you want to begin presenting at some Q conferences, perhaps at ISTE, in the next 1 to 30 years. So with that, hopefully 521 has been useful for you. Look forward to seeing your e-portfolios. Make sure they're on time. And I think that is all I have for you. Happy week 8, everybody.